Hello everyone, welcome back to Twilight Tales, where sleep dares not come easy, and shadows whisper your name. Before we begin, if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone you want to keep up all night. You know, misery loves company. Kira had always been a quiet girl, reserved, polite, and unnervingly calm, traits people often praised. But no one really knew her, not even her closest friends. She was the type who smiled on cue, listened more than she spoke, and kept her thoughts neatly folded behind a blank stare. After moving into the old Stonewell apartment, a 4-story building tucked away behind overgrown hedges and dying streetlights, her silence deepened. The place had a smell to it, not quite mold, not quite death, but something that clung to your clothes and your skin. Kira didn't mind. In fact, she liked the solitude. It gave her space to breathe, or so she thought. The apartment came with an old tarnished mirror attached to the bedroom wall. She didn't pay it much attention at first. It was ugly, cracked at the edges, framed with rusting bronze that seemed to bleed into the wall behind it. The landlord, an elderly woman who coughed through every sentence, said it had been there since forever and couldn't be removed. No one's ever managed to take it down, she croaked. Best to just let it be. Kira shrugged. Mirrors never bothered her. She didn't spend time looking at herself anyway. But in that apartment, on the 3rd floor, apartment 3B, something began to change. Not just in the mirror, but in her. At first, it was little things. She'd wake up and find her toothbrush moved, her closet left open. Lights on that she swore she turned off. She blamed fatigue. Work was draining. Clients were demanding. Sleep was patchy. It made sense to forget small things. Then came the dreams. Kira dreamt of standing in front of the mirror, watching herself blink. Only she wasn't blinking. Her reflection would smile while she frowned. It would tilt its head when she held hers still. Once it even waved at her with the wrong hand. She woke up sweating, heart racing, but always in bed. Safe. Alone. Except for the creaking in the walls and that whisper-soft giggle she couldn't locate. One night, around 3:33 a.m., a time she started seeing on the clock too often to be coincidence, she caught her reflection watching her while she passed by the mirror. She hadn't stopped. She hadn't turned. But her reflection had turned its head, slowly, like it had been waiting for her. She screamed, and the reflection smiled. After that, something inside Kira cracked. Not in a dramatic, cinematic way, but something subtle, subterranean. The kind of fracture that lets things crawl through. Her co-workers noticed first. "You all right?" one of them asked as she passed him in the hallway. "You look different, sharp." She didn't respond. She just smiled, her teeth showing just a little too much. That night, she didn't sleep. Not because of fear, but because she didn't feel like it. She stood in front of the mirror for hours, watching herself. Not moving, not blinking, just watching. Then the voice came. At first it was faint, like a memory, but clearer, crueler. "You've worn her face long enough." Kira stumbled back, hitting the edge of her bed. The mirror didn't echo the fall. Her reflection stood firm, smiling. "Let me out." She blinked, and for a moment, she saw something beneath her skin. A flicker, a mask peeling away. "No," she whispered. The reflection leaned closer, its eyes blackened. Too late. The next morning she found blood under her nails. Dried, brown, crusted. There were scratches on her arms. Long, deep, not self-inflicted. And her door was unlocked. When she turned on the news, she learned that some woman, had been attacked 2 blocks away. Brutally. The description was vague, but the sketch looked familiar. Too familiar. She stayed inside after that. For days. The mirror became her obsession and her prison. She covered it once, with a thick black cloth. But the cloth was gone the next day, torn to shreds on the floor like something had clawed through it. She set up her phone and tried to record herself sleeping. The footage was grainy, the lighting poor, but she watched herself rise around 3:30 a.m. Rise and stand in front of the mirror. She watched her own body lean in, press her forehead to the glass, then she started laughing. It wasn't her laugh. The footage cut off there. She didn't remember any of it. Desperate, she brought in a local priest. He stepped into the apartment, took one look at the mirror, and backed away. "There's something wrong here," he whispered. "Something old. This isn't a possession. This is a trade." "A what?" "She's not possessing you, she's replacing you." Kira's stomach dropped. "She?" she asked. The priest didn't answer. He just walked out quickly. That night, the voice in the mirror was clearer. "You've lived a quiet life. Don't you want to feel something real?" Kira pressed her hands to her ears. "You're not real." The reflection grinned. "Neither are you. Not anymore." Kira tried everything. Smashing the mirror, it didn't crack. Praying, the air grew colder. Burning sage, it smoked but wouldn't light. She even tried sleeping in the living room. But at 3:33, she woke up standing in front of the mirror. Anyway, her hands trembling. Her face wet with tears she hadn't felt. By now, her appearance had changed. Slightly, subtly. Her eyes were darker. Her hair seemed longer, although she hadn't touched it. Her voice sounded off in her own ears, like it echoed, like it wasn't quite hers. Then she started forgetting things. Whole hours gone. A grocery bag she didn't remember buying. A bruise on her collarbone shaped like fingers, and voices, always whispering from the mirror. One night her reflection spoke without moving its lips. "We're not alone in here. There are others. You let them in." Kira screamed and threw a lamp. The glass shattered across the floor. The mirror stayed intact. Later, she found herself smiling in the bathroom mirror. She hadn't meant to. It just happened. She punched herself hard, just to feel something. But even the pain felt borrowed. The worst came when her friend Lara visited. She hadn't seen Kira in weeks and was worried. But when she arrived, Kira greeted her at the door with a smile Lara didn't recognize. "You okay?" Lara asked, stepping inside. Kira nodded. "Too fast. You look different." "I feel free," Kira replied, her voice low, strange. Lara frowned. Have you been crying? No. Laughing. That night, Lara stayed over. She was too worried to leave. She insisted on sleeping in the living room with Kira. At 3:33 a.m., Lara was gone. Kira woke up in front of the mirror again. Blood on her hands. Her reflection was gone. Just an empty room staring back at her. She found Lara's necklace in the sink. Bent, cracked, still warm. She didn't call the police. By morning, she forgot what had happened. There was a new photo on her wall. One of her smiling with Lara. Only Lara's eyes were gouged out. The mirror chuckled, and Kira chuckled too. Soon, she started inviting strangers over. People looking for a room. People no one would miss. She'd smile, offer them tea, let them rest. And every night at 3:33 she'd introduce them to the mirror. She became bolder. She wore darker clothes, red lipstick. She went out at night prowling. Her walk had a sway. Her voice dripped with something evil. And inside her, a war was raging. Kira's real self, if it still existed, screamed behind her eyes. Screamed every time she smiled without reason. Every time her fingers wrapped around a throat. Every time she licked blood from her lips. But she couldn't stop it. The mirror had opened. And what had come through was hungry. They said a woman once lived in that apartment. A witch burned alive in 1892 after being accused of skin stealing. They said she lived on through the mirror, waiting, needing someone weak enough, someone hollow enough. Kira was perfect. Now she lives in the building alone. No one dares knock. The landlord pretends the apartment doesn't exist. Rent payments. Show up on time, but no one sees her leave. No one hears her speak. But at night, just past 3:33, you can sometimes see her standing in the window, smiling, waving, waiting for you. So, sleep tight. And if you ever feel like your reflection is just a little off, just a little too slow to mimic, don't wait. Run. And remember to like, subscribe, and share Twilight Tales with someone you care about. Because next time, it might be their reflection that stops following. Good night.